What was something you did as a kid that you thought was badass, but as an adult you find cringy? I thought raising my eyebrow at every little thing made me look cool. Looking back, it looked like I had problems. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Brow. Do you even lift? Grade 1 I took one of those chocolate coins in gold foil, put a hole in it, and ran a string through, and tied her around my neck, went to school bragging I won a medal in a hockey tournament. SMH. This is hilarious. Everybody gangster till the drip starts dripping in da hot weather. I used to wear padlocks on my belt loops. For extra stupid. They were padlocks I'd busted off the lockers in PE class with a shoe. So there I was walking around with 4 or so padlocks dangling from the belt loops of my JNCOs. Got dat drip. I remember signing up for a martial arts class and wearing a black and red GI and a red belt on my first day thinking I would look totally badass. My instructor made me take off the belt and GI top and told me to never do that again. This is the martial arts equivalent to wearing a white gown to someone else's wedding. I look really good in white. Kelly Kapoor. I ate flower roots because I thought it would turn me into a fairy or a nymph. I had one wild imagination. That sounds like something from Pan's Labyrinth. Lol. Guillermo del Toro has a wild imagination. I would breakdance in front of my large family at every event I could. Unfortunately my father likes to film things for memory, so every so often I'm reminded of my god awful dance moves as a 10-year-old when we watch old home videos. I would also do finger guns at the camera afterwards, like I was the best dancer ever filmed. Okay, at first I was thinking that's not that bad, until you got to the finger guns. Hey, I've been told confidence is the most important factor in dancing. Unfortunately I do not have the required trait to test that statement. Edit. Spelling. Saying bad morning to the teacher. Saying bad game when you high-five the opposing team members after a pee-wee soccer game. Damn. My little league progressed to duck you. Duck you. Your mom's hot. Duck you by 9 years old. Wore a brown suede jacket with a Hawaiian shirt to my senior picture day. Edit. Vocab clarification. By jacket, I mean blazer. And it was too big with a very 90s cut to it. Nothing remotely cool leather jacket about it. Also, dug out the old yearbook. It's worse than I remember. It was not suede. It was microfiber forks suede. But I very much appreciate the approval of the concept. Gen Z would probably call that a whole vibe lol. Gen Z reporting here. I've been called TF out. I literally read that and I was like damn. That boy was dripping before drip was a thing. I thought it looked so cool and badass drinking orange juice while eating mints at the same time without flinching or gagging. I did this at school and at various events. Thanks to that, I can now handle doing that no problem, but it's bad knowing why it doesn't bother me. This reminds me of my friend in high school who would refuse a numbing injection when getting a filling at the dentist because he thought it was badass. Dude, the dentist doesn't give a shit and you're just making his job harder. I had a dentist who could do most minor fillings without it, though he always gave you the option. I had a couple done at once, and on one side, I felt the tiniest pinch, and before I could even flinch, he stopped and said, I better give you a shot on this side. I'll be back in 15 minutes after it takes effect. Man, he was a great dentist. Sunglasses all the time. Day, night. Doesn't matter. My dad does that. But because his eyes are sensitive to light. I remember watching some kind of anime where this dude would smack a tree with a stick for hours to train. So that's what I did. In my free time I would go in my backyard and whack my tree for hours with a stick. I thought I was badass. My parents probably thought I was crazy. Hey, at least it was the backyard and not the front yard. Being an a-hole in general. Dude, I was a big asshole. I will literally apologize to every adult who knew me as a kid. This hits me so hard every day. Every adult is just trying to get through the day. It is so cringy when I see kids acting like assholes. I just want to shake the shit out of them. Picking up the landline phone. dialing a random number and attempting to prank the caller on the other side. When I was a bored kid, I used to look up psychics in the telephone book and call them up. I'd ask if they were a real psychic and could actually predict the future. And when they would say yes, I'd say, well then why didn't you know this was a prank call? I learned some cool swear words this way. And I'm okay with this one. Apparently Bandanas looked cool, was into Guns N' Roses as young teen. But it wasn't a proper one. It was my grandma's neck scarf lol. It's an ascot, it's Gay Freddy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you need to know. For a minute I thought you were quoting Scooby-Doo. Did you mean my entire teenage experience? Eating ants. When my brother was 3, I found him eating ants. I asked why he was doing it, and he said, I'm being Baloo the bear. This was such a reasonable explanation that 7-year-old me just shrugged and walked away. My brother ate ants and I asked what they tasted like, and he said apple juice. I lived in an apartment growing up. I thought it was hilarious to stand in the entryway of the apartment building as still as possible facing a wall, wearing an oversized t-shirt that covered the pair of shorts I had on, and then wear pants around my ankles. I was a bored kid. Your idea of a good time was to put yourself in timeout. Ahem, well pantsed. Yes, that is correct. I wore all black one Valentine's Day and thought I was so edgy and badass. I posted about it on my live journal and a stranger commented that that was a dumb and unoriginal idea. I was crushed. Live a journal. How are your 40s treating you? One of my senior photos is actually me in leather with a sword in the middle of a cemetery. It's still a cool photo, but it's like, yeah. Node it against my better judgment. Here's the photo. Link. imga.com/6480zaj. PNG. It's a cool photo, and I'd respect whoever took it, but I don't wanna be you. Yeah, no? Yeah. I'm glad that there were also some general/sane photos also taken that were put in the yearbook instead. Getting a lollipop and acting like it was a cigarette. Have you seen kids with Smarties? Oh, some of my old friends used to smoke Smarties. One of them ended up having a coughing fit, and the other got the dust in his eye, and it turned all red. I growled at my neighbor when I was 5. I used to bark at people I was chasing while playing soccer, thinking it'll scare them that a dog is coming. It distracted them all right, but I think a barking kid coming at you is more unnerving than an actual dog. My sister had a girl hiss at her during a soccer game. She hissed back. I had a ragtail when I was like 6. You and many other unfortunate kids. I was fortunate enough that my dad thought it was the dumbest trend. Duck. I literally had one because my stepdad thought they were so cool. While mom was busy at the bank teller's window, I spotted a long row of light switches in a remote area of the lobby. As a badass kid, I reached up and turned off the entire row, plunging the bank in darkness. That, in turn, called the cops because bank staff thought the place was being robbed. Holy shit. Did your mom know it was you? She figured it out right away when the teller told her that there was a boy over by the light switches. To this day, mom has never let me live it down. I used to wear 2 Hollister shirts with both collars popped up all the time. Jesus, I hate looking at those pictures in my mom's house. Edit. Photo proof. Not the worst one by far. Link. com//nus4jz. When you pop your collar, the bitch is gone holler. Fashion designer here. Popped collars originate in tennis and golf as a way to block your neck from the sun. Those two sports being traditionally rich people sports, the trend was adopted as a status symbol by the young Brooks Brothers / Vineyard Vines Northeast preppy crowd who took it to college with them and passed the trend to the one Abe Rich Kid Abercrombie and a Roposel crowd who were then emulated by their younger brothers in high school who ushered in the rightful death of this trend in the mid 2000s. Perhaps it would revive again in 20 years when the kids of the people who embraced this trend see pictures of their dads with popped collars and then do it to be ironic. Until then, your only option for successfully pulling a this not trend is to be a douche among douches. I'd walk around the neighborhood with a toy lightsaber and challenge any kid I saw to a duel. Same thing when I got a dual disc. Edit. I'm glad nearly 500 of you kind people agree that this is badass. I would love to demolish any of you fine fools in battle if we crossed paths. The only problem I see with this being done as an adult is that I don't have my own dual disc or lightsaber to dually with. And really, that's more my issue than it is yours. Whips out lightsaber, have at you. At around 8/9y/0, I decided I wanted vampire fangs. Best way to accomplish this? Grind my canine teeth with rocks. Literally cringe as an adult, because they still occasionally sear with pain from a mistake made in a single afternoon. Ouch. How much damage did you do? Back in kindergarten I used to run with my hands behind my back like Naruto. I would Naruto run. This was way before it was a meme, and I only did it because my uncle, who lived with us at the time, showed me all his anime from when he was a kid. Edit. I now remember thinking it made me faster. It gives you the feel of going faster because you feel like you're falling forward, and the wind streaming on your body gives that feel of air resistance and slipstream. When I was in secondary school I was showing off in front of my classmates when my teacher asked us how much she, as a human life, was worth. I shouted back about 10 an hour. Let me tell you, I did not have to wait until I was an adult to find that cringy. The second the words left my lips I was instantly disgusted in myself. She was one of the only teachers that truly wanted me to succeed and believed that I could. She absolutely did not deserve it, and no amount of laughter from my classmates cold made me think it was worth it. I feel horrible for laughing, but I can't stop. Practiced my Kamehameha form in the backyard. In case you're wondering, it was excellent. Doing Kamehamehas is timeless. I used to walk and talk like a gangster. How embarrassing. Shit, this reminds me of my backpack limp in high school. I'd wear my backpack on one shoulder and sag my pants. The weight being on one side gave me a ridiculous limp/walk thing. My best friend still gives me shit about it 10 plus years later. This walk is so famous, for a time some very cool teenagers did, that when I was young, me and my best friend still have the biggest laugh when we remember. And it is even better when you see someone walking like this nowadays. But it has become extremely rare. Maybe you see one guy a year doing it. Such a joyous sight. It makes my day anytime. It is the walk where you take a normal left step and then kind of bend down at the end of slash while doing your right step. Right? D easy to learn. Difficult to master. I have only seen very few people actually having perfected this. Slapping the top of the door frame in grade school. I still do this in my own house as a 41-year-old man. Thank God I'm not the only one. I tried to give my mom one of those all my life kind of speeches. It didn't go like the movies. Edit. Thanks for the award. And for the record, I got as far as all my life you always try to tell me what to do and where to go. Before my mama literally laughed out loud and reminded me that this was not a movie and I still had to clean my room. This is the kind of cringe that keeps you up at night when you're trying to fall asleep. There's very rarely a time that in all my life, speech actually isn't cringy or dramatic. Unless you're talking to yourself while deserted on an island / in the desert / in the woods and you're praying out loud. When I was a kid and chat rooms were all the rage, I used to say I was covered in tattoos. Like head to toe. Covered and not in meaningful things. It was more like scrolling through Facebook and seeing meaningless burns and shit like yeah. I got a big tattoo on my back that says, if you don't like me, duck you, and dumb shit like that. I was 13. The only PPL who believed me were other 13-year-olds and obviously the adults were like what the actual duck. Extend PPL like this. I have a stroke when people do this. Oh Allah are you so kinda boama. HVE a G8 Saint Roken. It's ducking hard to type like that. Why would people do that? I'm even more annoyed knowing my phone probably saved that and will autocorrect to that at some point. Wearing aviators that were way too big for my face. I always wear too big sunglasses. I like them like that. Same. The more of my face I can hide, the better. I would call it badass. But hey, so when I was like 8 we went with my friend's family to public saunas. Some people were naked there. I got hard, but instead of taking a towel to hide it, I was walking around naked flexing my dick with every step. It must have been so cringy seeing 8-year-old flopping his dick around thinking it's okay. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.